allow everyone to join. So go ahead and take a moment while we allow everyone to join. This is being live streamed, so you will be able to view this on YouTube as well. We'll just get started in a few minutes. Okay, thank you for joining SCORE today. We are presenting to you Introduction to Bookkeeping or Bookkeeping Basics. My name is Jada Harris, and we ask that you put your information in the chat. This is a great opportunity for you to network. If this was a live event, you would walk around, hand out your business cards or V cards or whatever you do these days. So instead, we put our information in the chat. Feel free to put your name, business name, email address, however you want to connect with individuals as well as the business that you're in. Bookkeeping basics is the basis of every business. It's part of your foundation. You have to understand your numbers, where your money's coming from, where it's going, in order for your business to grow and to know how to navigate your business. So it is important for us to understand how to move information as well as your money through your business before using systems like QuickBooks. QuickBooks is a great tool. If you don't know who I am the QuickBooks Whisperer here in Houston and abroad. And even though I'm a champion or pro advisor for QuickBooks, you have to know the basics before you can actually use that tool. So we'll go ahead with the presentation. Please save all your questions till the end and or put them in the Q&A area. Please don't put them in the chat because when you put in a chat, those questions may get overlooked. So please put your questions in the Q&A area. So SCORE for the life of your business, okay, from beginning to end and everything in between. Okay, so again, this is Bookkeeping Basics. This is the fundamentals of managing your business income and expenses, what's going in and what's coming out of your business. This is crunch time. Now, usually we have this webinar every other month or something to that effect, but this is pinnacle because tax season is coming up. And this is what we do this for, aside from knowing what our income and expenses are. We get all these numbers together so that we can report them on our tax return to hopefully get all of those deductions included so we can get either a refund or report appropriately. So bookkeeping is the basics of that. The agenda today is an introduction, an overview, and then these are the topics that we'll go over, which include sales, taxes, reports, audits, and also automating your books. And again, we will have a Q&A session at the end, the last 45 minutes of the presentation. Please put your questions in the Q&A area. Save the chat for introducing yourself to other attendees. Okay, so about SCORE. SCORE is a national organization. So it's not just here in Houston or in Texas, it's all over. I'm from Ohio, and how I was introduced to SCORE was in Ohio after being laid off and wanting to actually grow my business that I was doing as a side hustle while working full time. SCORE provides resources all over the United States since 1964 as a partner with the Small Business Administration. So the U.S. Resources that they have, we have access to. For instance, our main office is on Gessner, which is adjacent to the Small Business Administration office. So anytime that you have questions, say you're visiting our location, or even connecting with a mentor online, we can tap those resources to help your business grow. Our mission is to foster vibrant small business communities through mentoring and education. Our vision is that every person has the opportunity to support necessary to get the support necessary to thrive as a small business owner. And then our core values is that your success is our success. It is a volunteer organization, so we don't get any money from mentoring, but we as mentors enjoy seeing other businesses grow. So you can find great security and resources within the SCORE organization. How we help small businesses is through business advice and mentoring, low cost or no cost trainings like today, and then also sharing free business templates and resources. Those templates and resources can be found on our website at houston.score.org. And you can download any of those templates, such as a business plan, a financial plan, a marketing plan, and other resources that are specific to small businesses. Now, when you go on to other sites other than Houston, such as Dallas SCORE or a SCORE located in New York, you can find other resources. So it is very helpful to visit the other locations, websites, especially if you're interested in bringing a business idea from another location. Say there's an idea over in Wisconsin that you like and you want to bring here to Houston and establish, then tapping their resources will help you get started. Okay, so again, we are a national organization with over 10,000 volunteers. I have mentored small businesses all over the United States. So if you're interested in speaking to a mentor in another location, you can, although this chapter, the Houston chapter, is the largest chapter in the United States. We have over 160 volunteers right here in Houston, everything from small business startup mentors to attorneys, CPAs, as well as marketing gurus, anything that you need to start your business. And so what that means for you is not only are you able to connect with those individuals, but you can meet with them in person here in the Houston location. All right, so I did speak about our chapter. In addition to having over 160 volunteers, our current president is Chris Mahoney. We have helped start over 2,000 businesses, as well as create jobs and provide chapter resources, especially through the pandemic. You can reach out to us on all of the socials. So make sure that you connect to us on all of the socials out there. A little bit about me, just so that you know that I am legit. Those of you who have joined this webinar in the past, I am going to present some of the same information, but hopefully bring light to it as we enter tax season and all of that good stuff. So I am a certified SCORE mentor, and I generally provide mentoring in the areas of contract management, accounting, small business startup, home health care, So those are some of the areas that I can help as far as mentoring. I've been an entrepreneur since 2007. So again, I did it as a side hustle, did accounting and taxes as a side hustle as I was working full time and teaching on the college level. And then when I got laid off, it was like, surprise, now what are you going to do? I did search for, a full-time job, but found that, entrepreneurship was the route that I wanted to go. And even then it wasn't, a concrete, decision that I'm going to, full on Harrison Company. It was still teetering between full-time work and running my business. And it wasn't until I got here in Houston 5 years ago where Harrison Company is my sole source of employment. So just a little, background to let you know, if you're going on your entrepreneurial journey, that there is no straight line to it. It is a zigzag and all that good stuff. So you're not doing anything wrong. So I am a QuickBooks Pro Advisor. I have 25 years of contract and grant management experience from a major university. And my MBA is in project management. I also have a master's in criminal justice. My undergrad is in legal assisting, which where the contract management comes into play. And then I also have an associate's in business administration. So enough about that, lady. Let's just jump right in and give you the definition of bookkeeping. So it is the activity or occupation of keeping records of the financial affairs of a business. Okay, so the records, it's record keeping. That's what bookkeeping is all about. A lot of people, they see when they hear bookkeeping, they think financial. It is, but it's also records of the business that are related to the finances. So again, we're in business to make money. Even if you're a nonprofit, you got to make money in order to satisfy the people that you are serving as well as supporting. So in order to do that, to make money, there's records, documentation that you have to manage, receipts, invoices, bills, all of those things that you need to manage. And this webinar is going to speak on that. Wikipedia gives us a little bit more of an in-depth explanation, and that is bookkeeping is the recording of financial transactions and is part of the process of accounting in a business. So it's a part of the process. It's not the process. Transactions include purchases, sales, receipts, and payments by an individual person or an organization or corporation. So even you as the sole proprietor, which I was for a long time, sole proprietor, which means that you're not incorporated, you don't have an LLC, but you're out there, you're, doing your side hustle, or you're providing your skills and expertise to another business as a 1099 employee or 1099 contractor. So these are the opportunities for those individuals as well as organizations to manage the information, financial information is related to their business. All right, so trying to give you a visual, because especially if you're a millennial and younger, okay, you've had a computer in your hand since you were born, a phone or something. You see these little 2-year-olds or, out there, and they got their mom or their own phone, watching videos like they know what they're doing, but those of you who are old school like me, there is and was a process that you had to do before it was all automated, like with QuickBooks. And this is the process. This is the visual. This is the workflow that you have to or need to utilize when running your business as it relates to sales. So we have a service or a product or both that we have within our business, right? And so we actually make it a sale. Okay, so let's use a bakery or a cupcake business. Let's just say cupcake business, because bakery means everything, right? But I'm just Jane the cupcake maker, and I like making cupcakes for parties for kids and things like that. And so I have this product, a cupcake, and so I've sold a dozen, half a dozen, whatever. Okay. Now, depending on who you're selling it to, you're going to create an invoice or you're going to provide a sales receipt. If you are, someone walks up to you at a farmer's market and they buy 12 cupcakes, you're going to provide them with a sales receipt. If someone calls you on the phone and says, hey, we have a birthday party next week and we need 2 dozen cupcakes, you're probably going to provide them with an invoice, whether that's a written documentation of the sale of some sort, or you're going to use an automated system where you click and you send the invoice to them. Okay. But either way it goes, you need to produce a document to prove that the sale was completed. Now, there's a lot of people, especially if you're a sole proprietor, you're just starting out, where you didn't do that. You just gave them the cupcakes, you got your money, and you went on your merry way. That happens. But the appropriate way to do it is you sell the cupcakes, you give them a receipt, and you document it within your business. Payment is then received, then payment is reconciled with the invoice. So whether it's cash, and if they paid with cash, you gave them a receipt, you kept a receipt for yourself, you keep that receipt, or you document that you received it. Payment is then recognized in the bank. Now, if you receive cash and you just put it in your pocket and you kept it moving, you still used it for business, but you put it in your pocket, there's no way to prove that you made that sale or that you're even in business. So when you deposit the money into the bank, it proves that you made a sale, especially if you're using your own business account, not your personal account. Okay. So depositing in the bank helps to recognize that the sale was made. And then within your accounting system, whether you use Excel, a pen and paper, or QuickBooks, within that system, revenue and cash accounts are affected. Okay. And so when it is affected, there's a debit and a credit that is made behind the scenes or within your ledger if you're doing it through Excel or on using a piece of paper. I know I'm explaining all this and you're like, really? All of that needs to be done? Yeah, but with an automated system, you don't have to do that. You don't see all of this, but it's important for you to understand what is happening in the background. And then lastly, the record is retained, okay, for a time such as this. It's tax season. Therefore, you have to prove that the sale was made so that you can report it to the IRS or to another tax agency, such as the comptroller's office, if you are selling a product. All right, so we made a sale. In order to make that sale, you incur expenses. For instance, to make a cupcake, you definitely need flour, or if you're vegan, you need something else. I don't know. I'm not vegan yet. I don't know if I'm going that direction, but anyway, you need to purchase things in order to make that, even just one cupcake. And in order to do that, or in order to document that, you probably receive a bill or a receipt. You went to Walmart, you purchased the flour, you have the receipt. That is your documentation that an expense was used in order to create the cupcake that you eventually sold. Okay, you pay the bill. Now, if it is you went to Walmart, that is already done. But if this is the electricity, to whether it's in your apartment, home, or your brick and mortar of your business, the electricity bill is an expense that you have to document to prove that you utilized a resource in order to make the cupcake. Okay, do we see the cash flow, or the workflow here? You reconcile the bill or the receipt with the payment. All right. And if you're old school like me, or how I used to be, you those two papers were stapled together and you put it in a filing system. Behind the scenes, or excuse me, the expense is then recognized by the bank. Okay. All right. Because you took money out of your bank or you took money out of your pocket, which is your current bank right now. And so it's decreased. Okay. So expense line, excuse me, the expense line increases and the cash decreases. So your cash, $5 went out of your pocket to make the cupcake. So that means that your cash decreased and the expense line increased. Next, the transaction is complete, of course, and then you retain that record of, as well. So you're going to have your sales records, and then you're going to have your expense records. Those are the two records that you're going to start with when you're running your business. This is bottom basic. If you don't have this information, this is going to cause problems for everything else I'm about to tell you about. So next thing, taxes. So I mentioned if you are selling a product such as a cupcake, you have to pay sales taxes within the state of Texas. Now, if you're that's pretty much in every state. There may be one state that I'm not aware of that doesn't expect you to pay taxes, but we're in America, more than likely you do. In the state of Texas, you do need to contact the state comptroller's Texas State Comptroller's Office in order to set up your account, in order for you to manage your sales taxes. Now, when you go to Walmart and I always use Walmart as an example, you go to Target, whatever. Okay, so you go to Walmart, you purchase your, cupcake mold pan. Okay, when you purchase that, you look on your sales receipt, there's a line that says taxes, sales taxes, and it is 8.25% of the total sale. So if that is the case, Walmart is serving as an agent to take that, say that the pan was $10, to take that 80 cents. Is it 80 cents? No. That 8.25%, and then apply that or give that to the Texas Comptroller's Office. Every sale of a product, they have to take that 8.25% and give it to the Comptroller's Office. When you sell a product, you are serving as an agent for the Texas Comptroller's Office as well. So you have to set up your sales tax account with the Comptroller's Office in order to do that. If you have been in business for a couple of years and you have not been doing that, that can be a problem for you if they find out. They will charge you penalties and fees and back taxes. So it's important that you get that set up as soon as possible. There are other taxes that you should be concerned with, such as self-employment taxes. Those of you that have had employment in the past, whether you've worked for, a fast food chain or you work for corporate America, either way it goes, if you work for someone, there are taxes that are taken out of your check. And those are usually entitled FICA. Okay, federal income tax. Yeah, FICA. Okay, so those are for the entrepreneur. That's also known as self-employment taxes. Okay, so just because you're working on your own now doesn't mean that you avoid those taxes. You do have to pay those, and generally those are collected on an annual basis. You can voluntarily provide your self-employment taxes on a quarterly basis, and this helps with individuals that have a high income. You bring in high income. So I have clients within my business that they bring in over $150,000 in sales, and their net income after expenses and all that good stuff, their net income is $100,000, believe it or not. That $100,000 gets taxed, and you need to pay sales tax or self-employment taxes on that $100,000. How you do that is through your annual tax return or your quarterly tax payments. So there's a couple of ways that you can do that. Thomas Lowe, I do see your hand raised. Go ahead and put your question in the chat area, or excuse me, in the Q&A area, and then we'll address your question in the question and answer time period. So self-employment taxes need to either be paid on an annual basis or on a quarterly basis. The annual tax form, which is the 1040, that all of individuals who work have to file that form. On that form, as a sole proprietor, you will file a Schedule C for your business, okay? And that is part of the way that your taxes are reported to the IRS. There are other tax forms for other businesses. So if you're not a sole proprietor or sole proprietor LLC, you're S corporation, C corporation, then you'll file on other tax forms, the 1120 or the 1065. So those are, so there's other forms, but generally, if you're a sole proprietor, you're going to file on the Schedule C on your annual tax return. Your annual tax return is due on April the 15th of every year for Schedule C. And for S Corp and C corporations, your tax return is due on March 15th. Property taxes is another tax that you should be aware of as you concern yourself with bookkeeping. Property taxes are reserved for individuals who have a brick and mortar. If you have a business that you're in a strip mall, you're in a mall, or you have an individual brick and mortar that you've built up, then you are required to pay property taxes. When you have a sign outside of your brick and mortar, the desks, the file cabinets, the computers, all of those are property that you own as a business that you have to pay taxes on here in Texas, to the state of Texas. So that is something else that you should be aware of. Another tax that you should be aware of is the franchise tax. Now, what's interesting about the franchise tax, this is reserved for people who have an LLC or are in S corporation and C corporation. If you're a sole proprietor, you do not have to be concerned with franchise tax. This is related to the state of Texas. So when you register as an LLC, you purchase your LLC, you are then required to report on May 15th of every year a franchise report. You must file that. Now, you should be receiving a notice around this time in January. They'll let you know you have until May 15th to provide a report to the state comptroller's office about last year's activity. Now, if you are below 1.8, I think it's 1.8 million in revenue, then all you have to do is report. Now, if you're above that 1.8, then you may be imposed a tax, okay, a franchise tax, and you will then have to pay. Those of you who are below, you're only reporting what you've done in the past year. You're only providing that report. So you should not be paying if you're below that 1.8 threshold. You should not have to pay anything. Only time you will have to pay is if you file late. There is a $50 late fee if you file the report after May 15th of the year. So that's where you should be concerned if you're below the threshold, is making sure you file a report. It's an easy report to submit. You're just providing them with your numbers and details of your business, more or less letting them know that you're still in business, you're still operating, and that is a requirement of the Texas Comptroller's Office. The sales taxes and the franchise tax you can find on this Texas Comptroller's website, and it'll allow you to file those taxes online. So that's what I have for taxes. Bank reconciliation. I know a lot of people are, oh, what is this? Okay, so we are in an automated world. which means that a lot of transactions come through a bank feed into your automated system, or you go online and you see that your, Chase account, all the income and expenses are going in and out. But it's important for you to understand what is truly happening within a time frame, usually a month, of what is going in and out of your business. Now, you utilize tools like QuickBooks or Excel or whatever in order for you to track the income and expenses. And when you do that, then you compare what's in Excel or QuickBooks to what the bank says. If that happens, or when that happens, you then reconcile it to make sure that they match within that time period. So we're in the month of January. Therefore, you received your bank statement for the month of December already of 2022. You're going to compare what you have in your QuickBooks system, your Excel spreadsheet, to what you have in your bank statement for the month of December. This is the last action that you take when you are doing your monthly bookkeeping. Okay. So again, the bank reconciliation is used to compare your records to the bank. It ensures that the bank is correct. Banks do make mistakes. So therefore, you want to make sure that what you have does match the bank, and what the bank has matches what you have. Furthermore, the IRS requires you, or believes that you, as a business owner, should have control over your business. You're not relying on the bank statement to tell you how much income and expenses went through your business. You are telling the bank or telling yourself exactly what went in and out of your business. And so that's what the expectation is of the IRS. This should be done on a monthly basis. I wouldn't go more than 3 months, more than a quarter of not doing a bank reconciliation, because the longer you wait, the more confusing it can get. A lot of details, you can be off by a penny or 10 cents or a dollar or whatever, that can throw your bank reconciliation off. So it's best that you do it within the month. It all should balance. It all should zero out. So whatever you have on in your QuickBooks, or whatever you have on your Excel spreadsheet, you should also zero out and have what is on the bank statement. If there are discrepancies, say there's a $10,000 check in your bank account or in your QuickBooks, one or the other, and you don't know where it came from or where it went or whatever, you note the discrepancy until you can figure it out. There's been plenty of nights that, when I worked for the major university and the corporations, that I've stayed up looking for that missing, transaction. The best thing to do is to note the discrepancy, look at it with fresh eyes on another day, and after noting that discrepancy. Okay, again, if you have any questions, please put it in the Q&A area, and we'll address those questions towards the end. So, reports. This is another part of bookkeeping. Everything that we just talked about, the sales, expenses, taxes, all of that rolls up into your reports. You, as a business owner, this is the most important piece of bookkeeping for you, because it allows you to understand where your business, what the position your business is in, and where it could go and where it's going. Okay, so the reports are most important. There are three important, now there's a plethora of reports that you can utilize to manage your business, but the three most important reports are going to be your income statement, which is also known as your profit and loss statement, your balance sheet, and then also the cash flow statement. The income statement tells you your income, expenses, and then your net income for a period of time, usually a month. The balance sheet tells you your current equity or financial position in your business. So it's going to be your assets, the equation from here, minus liabilities equals the equity, your financial position in your business. Okay. So that tells you, the equity tells you how much your business is worth. The cash flow statement is usually done on a quarterly basis, and it tells you how cash and expenses are flowing in and out of your business. So when you do it on a quarterly basis, it gives you a understanding, okay, month of January, I did 10,000 in sales. The month of February, I did 2,000 in sales. The month of March, I did, 5,000 in sales. It tells me when I look at this cash flow statement, as far as sales, that whatever I did in January, I need to start doing on a, continual basis. It also tells you, as it relates to expenses, how much I'm expending, how much I'm not expending, what I can do to change in order for my business to be more effective. Again, these statements should be produced on a monthly basis, if not quarterly. You should review them for your current financial position. And then you can also use these documents, these reports, to analyze for future decisions. Now, here are some bookkeeping notes that you should be aware of. There is what is known as cash versus accrual, okay? So your business philosophy, or your business, how you utilize your business, is either cash or accrual. Most businesses are cash, which means that you accept payment at the time of service. Accrual means that you provide the service and you expect payment at a later date. Okay, whether you give them, usually in construction, you start working on the construction project, and over the year, whether it's through a contract or through the terms that you've determined with the business, that the payment is received over a period of time. Okay, now you can, on a cash basis business, provide payment terms, net 10 days, net 15 days, but the expectation is that when you provide the service, you will receive the payment. Another bookkeeping note that you should be aware of is GAAP, which stands for Generally Accepted Accounting Principles. Okay, you can Google that. And then what GAAP does is it tells you what you should know or understand about accounting. And this is generally what the accounting world use to make determinations on how to practice their accounting. Examples of businesses that did not use GAAP or generally accepted accounting principles is Enron. So if you don't want to use these terms, that's completely up to you, or these principles, or this practice, that's completely up to you. But we saw where Enron went. Okay, just letting you know, put a pin in that. All right, there's also what's known as debits and credits. Okay, and this is a heavy accounting term, but you do need to be aware of it, because usually when people hear debits, they think of debit cards. Not the same thing. Debits is what happens to your cash or your expenses when a transaction is made. So one side is debited, the other side is credited. The left side is debited and the right side is credited. Now, remember earlier I mentioned that during the sale, the cash increases and the service line decreases. So when that happens in the accounting world, or in practice, there's a debit and a credit. Again, I don't want to deep dive in this. You just need to be aware that there should be a debit and credit. If you want to learn more about this, Google is your friend. On the other side of that is, taking an accounting class. And honestly, if for instance, your business is, digital marketing, you don't really need to know a lot about debits and credits. You just need to know that they exist because of the type of business that you have. All right. Another thing that you should understand is that you should keep your receipts. Yes. Yeah, you got to keep them. Reason being is the IRS likes to see documentation that you actually did have expenses. Now, I say here, especially if it's $75 or more, you should keep the receipt. But honestly, you should keep all of your receipts, because if you're ever audited, the IRS wants to see that when you went to that fancy restaurant and you spent $150, that was actually spent on you and a potential client, for instance, or you and your team. You going to a fancy restaurant and spending $150 just on yourself or on your spouse is not a business expense. And therefore, when you save that receipt, you need to write on there who you did or who you had dinner with, and then also what the dinner was for, recruiting, so on and so forth. It's the same as if you went to Office Depot, you went to Walmart, you need to save all of those receipts. Now, typically, or in the old days, you would take all of those receipts and you put it in a file cabinet. What I used to do is put them all in an envelope and staple it to the month end reports, so that those uh, uh, receipts could be reviewed if audited. If so yeah, it could be years and you never get audited, but you still have that documentation if someone audits you. You retain your records for 3 years. So when we talked about that sales workflow and that expense workflow, remember at the end, I said, retain your records. According to the IRS, you must retain your records for 3 years. Okay. You can keep them longer if you want, but do know that those records are auditable if you keep them. Okay. So if you're ever in an audit and they're auditing you for 2020 and 2021, and you have records all the way back to 2016, if they need to, they can go into those records. So what you can do is every year, outside of the 3 years, so this is 2023, you're going to want to save records for 2022, 2021, and 2020. If you have records from 2019, you can now purge them because you're not required by the IRS to save them. However, if you have a contract with the state of Texas and they require you to retain the records for 6 years, then you must retain the records for 6 years to be compliant with them. And therefore, the IRS has access to those as well. So this is all bookkeeping, what I'm talking about, right? This is just the basis. And then we get on, we go beyond that when we talk about accounting, and then we talk about taxes, and then we talk about, investments. All of this bookkeeping is the basis of this. And so you have to understand all of these tips and tools and information that I'm providing to you right now. So I mentioned audit a couple of times, and a lot of people are like, man, am I going to get audited every year? Or, how does this work? Audits, audits are usually far and in between, honestly, unless you are doing something you should not be doing. Okay. if I've been watching this new thing with Sylvester Stallone, was it Tulsa King? And it's a very interesting show. It's about the mafia and all that good thing. But if you have a business, which he watch the show, it's good. I'm not recommending, I'm just saying I like the show. Anyway, they're money laundering. That is a no. So yes, if you're doing things like that, yes, that's going to bring attention to you, and then therefore you're going to get audited. So my second master's is in criminal justice. The IRS is a legal institution, just like the police. It's a policing agency. So they're of course not policing for crime, for street crimes. They're policing for white collar crimes. So therefore, if you're doing these things, you are going to more likely have to pay fines, penalties, as well as jail time, all because of not managing your business appropriately. I'm not trying to scare you. Please don't run. Okay. But I am trying to inform you of the importance of managing your business. And the basics of it is bookkeeping. You start here, and then it can get, even more in depth as far as your business. So what an audit is, okay, and I've experienced audits through, the corporations that I've worked for, And it is a paper trail, simply. So remember how I was saying that you must retain your records for sales, you must retain your records for expenses, your sales receipts, all of those things, those pieces of paper, or in our digital or automated world, those documents, PDFs that you have of them, that is a paper trail that gets audited. Now, there are other agencies that can audit you, not just the IRS. If you do have a contract with the state of Texas, they can audit you. Because the comptroller's office that does the sales taxes, they can audit you. There's other agencies that audit you. So it's important that you keep these records in case your business is ever audited. But beyond that, you want to keep it for yourself so that you know that you're running your business appropriately. Now, there is what is known as the ISO standards, and that tells you what is required in an audit or what your expectations are in an audit. This is something that you can Google, and it'll provide you with the information as it relates to those standards. Again, multiple agencies can audit you. And the two industries that get audited the most is construction and restaurants. The reason why those two industries get audited the most is because of the employees that they retain or have. As you know, especially at restaurants, employees go in and out. Other you go to your favorite restaurant, one month there's a server, the next month is a totally different server. It's a constant overturn of employees in these two industries. And so when that happens, then those industries get audited. And so another thing that I want to kind of put a pin on, and I probably should add it to the next bookkeeping webinar, is payroll. That's another bookkeeping effort that is necessary. But what I want to explain as it relates to construction and restaurants, as it relates to payroll, is that the IRS, they are a policing agency, but they're very helpful. They will give you all the resources you need to be compliant. It's all on their website. Okay, and I'll give you some of the links later on in this presentation. They are very helpful. But when it comes to payroll, they are even more of a policing agency. So if you avoid paying your employees, or you avoid paying your employee taxes, that is where they put the hammer down. And so that is an area that you do want to concentrate on. You do want to get a help as soon as you get an employee. I mean, the minute you start thinking about getting an employee, you should get a payroll system. I recommend QuickBooks Payroll. I've used the other payroll systems in the past. And I found QuickBooks Payroll to be overly helpful. It's a very good system to use, as well as it connects to a bookkeeping system. So it's all in one. It's not something that you have to use outside of your bookkeeping system if you decide to use QuickBooks. So if I don't impress upon anything on you today, it is to, especially in the industries of construction and restaurants, is to manage your payroll, especially as it relates to audits. Okay, so we've done all of this. We've done sales, expenses, taxes, reports. All of these things are necessary to retain in your business. But disasters happen. And Texas is prone to it because of hurricanes and things that have happened in our recent past. But even beyond that, there's those natural disasters. But what about COVID, which was a health disaster? And that was something that required us to bounce back from. The government, which was one of the industries or the businesses that stayed in business, was the government, and they were giving out money. But you couldn't get the money unless you had what? An income statement and a balance sheet, or that you proved that you were in business. I think it was before February 9th, February 12th of 2020, 2020. if you couldn't prove that, you couldn't get free money. So what SCORE has done is we created a go bag checklist, and that link is down here at the bottom, but you can also find it on our houston.score.org website under resources, and it's at the bottom of the page. And it gives you a checklist for your business of things that you should have in order in case of a disaster. So this is a great tool to have. But you using, if you have QuickBooks, you would retain that information in the cloud, especially if you're using QuickBooks Online. If you have another cloud-based system like OneDrive, you can save your documents there. Google Drive, you can save your documents there. The documents that you want to retain are those reports. You want to retain receipts. You want to retain the warranties for if you have a brick and mortar and you have copiers, you have printers, you have computers. You want to save all of that information in a system, a cloud-based system, so that in a case of a disaster, you're able to pull down that information and prove to your insurance company that you do have a $5,000 copier that you just bought and now it's underwater, that kind of thing. I'm not trying to put that in the atmosphere, but these are the things that happen when you experience a disaster, and that you as a business owner should be prepared for. Now, how this relates to bookkeeping is that all of everything that we just talked about needs to be retained for your business. And so that when a disaster happens, you can bounce back faster than someone who doesn't do something like this. Okay. Again, you can retain it in the cloud. There are other resources that are out there. During COVID, the SBA provided resources. They still have guaranteed loans that you can use as a resource in any type of disaster, or just as a way to grow your business. So that's disaster recovery. Now, I've spoke about QuickBooks. I've spoke about automation. And what that means is that everything that we mentioned before with the sales expenses, taxes, and whatever, I was talking about doing that by hand. Yeah, there was a time. Can you imagine back in the 1700s when they were doing accounting? Oh my gosh. I would not do it. I would not, because it's all that writing and retaining records and stuff. We have QuickBooks. And I am a QuickBooks Pro advisor. And I did work for QuickBooks. I was a QuickBooks expert. And I'm not saying that from those perspectives. I'm saying it as a business owner. You have something where all of everything that we just talked about, click, click, done. Minutes, seconds, done. You don't have to remember, write it down. It's all in a computer system that's downloaded from your bank into an online system that you can access anywhere in the world on any device. So QuickBooks is a great tool. There are other tools out there. I think QuickBooks is the best. That's my opinion. I'm biased, huh? Okay. All right. But it helps you to track those sales, expenses, payroll, taxes, mileage. They also retains receipts, contracts, helps you manage projects. There's so many things that you can do. In the month of February, we haven't retained a date just yet, but in the month of February, we will be providing an introduction to QuickBooks webinar. And so that's just an overview. We'll talk just about what you can do with QuickBooks and tools that are available. But I do teach QuickBooks classes in the community, as well as through my business. So those are opportunities to help you in your business. The systems that you utilize, again, QuickBooks is the top. These other ones, they do pretty much the same, but they're not as good. I'm just saying. So they do produce financial reports for you. So imagine doing all those reports, the income statement and the balance sheet by hand. Yes, they do it. They even do it through Excel. It can be done, but I promise you it's not something I like to do. And then it's cloud-based. Like I said, you can access it anywhere in the world, on your phone, on your laptop, on your mama's laptop, whoever. Okay. And then it also, QuickBooks itself provides bookkeeping support. So if you need a bookkeeper, you can reach out to QuickBooks, and they do provide a bookkeeping service. I personally don't recommend it. I mean, it's one of those systems that are services that they provide that I haven't found to be advantageous. In fact, many of the clients that I have come to me from that support system, and so that's just my 2 cents. So here's some more of my 2 cents. I got bags of it, okay? Bookkeeping tips. Okay, these are my personal tips over the 25 years of experience that I have, that I've encountered as an employee, as a business owner, as a person. Google is your friend. Uncle Google is your friend. So you have any question that about bookkeeping, accounting, about life, put it in Google. So what is the difference between debits and credits? Put that in Google. It'll tell you. It'll provide you with videos even. Even people that you can reach out to, such as myself, that can help you understand accounting and bookkeeping terms. Secondly, open a business account. Now, like I alluded to earlier, many of us sole proprietors, or people who are sole proprietors, open up or utilize their personal bank account when they first start their business or when they're doing business. That's okay for the moment because you're trying to get things done. But the greater or better thing to do is open up a business account. Okay. I found that credit unions are more are better for small businesses. So you might want to seek out a credit union and open a business account there. But it's important to separate your business transactions from your personal transactions. The IRS does not want you to commingle your funds. Therefore, you must have a business account to prove that income is coming into your business. Also, if you're going after a loan to get a house, to purchase a car, they're going to want to see that business account to prove that you have ownership of a business. 3, develop a workflow system. An example of that is when I gave you the visual of a transaction. A workflow system is that you do the 3 tasks in a flow in order for it to work. Okay, so that means that if you sell at the farmer's market, your cupcakes, come up with a workflow system that works for you. If you create suits for businessmen, come up with a workflow system that works for you and your employees. Now, as a sole proprietor, that workflow system is great for you, but once you start onboarding contractors and employees, it's important for them to see that workflow system and also to be added to it. So that workflow system is going to grow. And so that also means that your business is growing. Okay. And so it's good to have that visual so that you can see how your business is growing, not just as it relates to income and expenses, but just how you carry out tasks. You made the cupcakes. You took it to the farmer's market. You sold it to a person. You put the money in your pocket. That's a workflow system. Okay. So create that for yourself. It helps you to understand how to operate your business more efficiently. Automate your system, like with QuickBooks. You can automate your system, outside of financials. You can automate it by using Zoho for your CRM system, your customer relations management system. That helps you to retain all of your clients' information, their basic information. Now in QuickBooks, QuickBooks just acquired MailChimp, so you're able to do that within QuickBooks as well. So then also do a periodic review. Don't wait for an audit that may happen. Take it upon yourself to do a periodic review of your business. So, every quarter, every year, look at your financial statements, look at, how you're operating your employees and so on and so forth. Do a periodic review. 6, retain your records. And so again, we, provide you with a resource on our Houston.score.org website, for disaster recovery. but QuickBooks also has that cloud-based system where you can retain all of your records. You can upload, like I said, contracts, Word documents, whatever you need in order to retain. And then ask a pro. Okay, you've taken the first step of joining this webinar to connect with SCORE, which has over, and just in Houston, over 160 pro mentors that can help you with your business. You don't have to do that alone. That was the word today. You're not on your own. You have resources and individuals that can coach you along through your business and give you the mentoring that you need in order for your business to grow. Also, outsource. Now, and I'm talking to people like myself that have a hard time delegating and letting things go. I mean, face it, this business is your baby. And it's hard to just hand over your baby to other people. But in order for you to grow, and let's, moms, single moms, you got to take them to daycare. You got to take them to daycare so you can go to work to earn the money so your family can continue, so that you can grow. And so it's the same concept with your business. Don't be afraid to outsource and get contractors to help you and employees to help you with your business, and make sure that they are as strong, if not stronger than you, in order for your business to grow. 9, expect payment at the time of service. Now, this is sort of like a pet peeve of mine. So I'm sorry. Okay, this is sort of a pet peeve of mine. Now, when I started out, I was like, oh, yeah, I just wanted to help people. I just wanted to help people. But now, no, we got to eat. You know what I'm saying? We have to pay the light bill. So expect payment at the time of service. If they're not willing to pay you, move on. Okay. And it's nothing wrong with extending time and terms, net 10 days, net 15, net 30 days, but there should be an expectation of payment at the time of service. And then also, everything is fixable in accounting, bookkeeping. A lot of people, I'm afraid to do it because, if I'm going to do something wrong and, this is going to happen, yeah, you're going to make a mistake. Okay. Especially if you don't do accounting every day. If your love and passion, your business is creating suits, then, accounting is not something you do on a daily basis. So there's going to be mistakes, but that's okay because everything is fixable. We can go back and make changes and make corrections, especially if you're using a system like QuickBooks. Now, the resources that I alluded to earlier from the IRS are listed below here. And all you need to do is go onto the IRS website and type in search self-employment, small business, gig economy, and they'll pull up, you'll be able to pull up the resources that they have available to you. Now we're at that point. And I am about 10 minutes ahead of time. Yes, about 12 minutes ahead of time. So we can go ahead and answer questions in the Q&A area. Now I'm going to go ahead and get started. We have Nina. Nina says, I have mobile massage business and clients pay using Zelle. No sales receipt is generated. Okay. That is not okay. You should find a mechanism. It's okay that they pay you by Zelle. That's fine. But you should find a mechanism that you can provide a receipt, even if it's a written receipt. The amount of the massage and how they paid you, Zelle, and provide that to them and retain it for yourself. Again, all records should be retained. Lisa, do you have to charge sales taxes on consulting services? So the answer that I have for you is no. Most consulting services, you do not charge sales taxes. It's only on products. So thinking about anything that is tangible, you should be charging sales taxes on. Now, I'd say that with a hesitation because you should go to the Texas Comptroller's website, and they have a list of what should be charged sales taxes, what businesses should be charging sales taxes. You can also call them up on the phone. Hey, I have a consulting business. should I be charging sales taxes? So you should do your due diligence, but my answer is no. So there's no sales taxes on consulting services. Alberta, please email webinar. I want to be review it again. Okay, Alberta, if you go ahead and click on the more right here, you can right here, you can copy the streaming link. So I don't know if you see that on my screen, but this webinar is being streamed and you can copy the link for future. All right, so we have Anonymous. Says, do you only pay self-employment tax if you pay yourself? No, you pay self-employment taxes if you have a business. So if you're in business, you are self-employed, therefore you pay self-employment taxes. It doesn't matter if you're an employee of your business or you're just pulling down owner's draw. Either way, you have to pay self-employment taxes. All right, Thomas, sorry, I accidentally hit the raise hand. No problem. No problem. James, in this digital age of Zelle and credit cards, are paper versions of these documents the only way to prove a sales expenses? Prove a sales and or expenses? Yes, you must retain the record. Okay, so let me break this down. Even though it comes across the bank feed, it comes across the bank feed as Zelle, and usually Zelle has the person's name and the amount, and that's it. But it doesn't tell us what for. And so where that poses a problem is that with Zelle, you can pay anybody. You can pay your mom. And if she's not working for you, then that's not a business transaction. So the IRS needs to know and have that documentation that is exactly what you did. So the best way to do that is using an automated system or a system, whether it's, the system is writing it down on a piece of paper, typing it in Excel, or when it comes across the bank feed into QuickBooks Online, you're putting in the memo that that this is what it's for. So you need to have that documentation. Okay, Mary Edwards. I have a question about property taxes. I do not own a brick and mortar. Would I still have to pay property taxes on my desk, computer, or camera video equipment? No. Okay. So that Mary, property taxes is if you own a brick and mortar or you're renting an office or something to that effect. That's when you have to pay property taxes. Lisa, do you have to pay property taxes on home office equipment? No, you do not. This is the first I have heard about having to pay it for desks, etc. So again, if you have a brick and mortar and you have items inside of that brick and mortar, then that's when that is property taxes are assessed. The home office equipment and things like that, it's in your home, so it's not dedicated to your business. You can use it for personal reasons, and therefore it's not business. It does not incur property tax. You do want to call the property tax, and I think it's Ann Harris. You Google that, and you can get further information about property taxes. Monica, does the service-based businesses like travel have to collect sales tax from clients? No. If it's service-based business like consulting, travel, then you don't have to charge a sales tax. However, if you're selling a product, something that is tangible, which could include, travel brochures, if you're selling those brochures, then you possibly could have to charge sales taxes on that. Again, check with the comptroller's office. They'll give you some good information. Rachel, will a recording of this session be provided? If you click on the more button, you can copy the live stream link, and then you'll be able to get the presentation. All right. Anonymous, how crucial is it to keep my personal and business expenses on separate credit cards? Extremely important, because the IRS does not want you to commingle your funds. So they want to see that all the business transactions are here and all the personal are here separate. Okay. If you've done it, it's happened. It's already done. There's nothing we can do about it. But going forward, this day forward, you're going to want to get your own credit cards, business credit cards, your own business accounts in order to keep those things separate. Okay, Sula says, does your company offer bookkeeping setup services to get business started? Do you offer grant writing services? So Sula, yes, I do provide bookkeeping services. I do provide training and setup for businesses. I'll go ahead and put my information in the chat so that you can reach out to me if you'd like. You can find me on LinkedIn with Jada A. Harris. So I'll go ahead and put that in the chat right now. So my LinkedIn is Jada.Harris, and you can reach out to me there and we can have a further conversation. I'll also put on here my website so that if you would like to see what my business is all about, you can do so, as well as my business email address. And I'll also, those of you who are interested in mentoring, I'll put my mentoring information on here so that you can reach out to me for mentoring. Now, what I will say, let me put this in here, and it's Jada at, or excuse me, it is Jada.Harris at scorevolunteer.org. What I will say that if you do become a mentee of mine, that means that I cannot do business with you for at least 3 years. So we do want to clarify if you, between me providing you with services, you becoming a client of mine, or if you want mentoring. If you just want mentoring, with mentoring, I could talk to you all day about QuickBooks. I could talk to you all day about accounting and contracts and all that good stuff, but I cannot do it for you. Okay. So I can't clean up your QuickBooks. You can ask me a question. The only thing I will be able to do is refer you to our Pro Advisor system through QuickBooks so that someone can physically help you with your QuickBooks. Now, if you want me to help you with your QuickBooks, that's where you'll reach out to me on LinkedIn. If you want me to help you with contract management, grant writing, all of that good stuff, you reach out to me on LinkedIn. All right. So Albert says, what software is best suited to help with bookkeeping? QuickBooks is going to be my number one. There are other bookkeeping systems out there. I have found that people have moved from them to QuickBooks. There are free software out there, but you get what you pay for. QuickBooks is affordable. I believe as a business owner, you can afford it. And I understand. I was there too in the beginning, especially I was strong neck, because I'm an accountant. So I'm not paying, for a service. But then once you see what you can do with QuickBooks, it's worth every single penny. Okay. So they have QuickBooks Simple Start, which is what I suggest all of my clients to start with, is QuickBooks Simple Start, and that's $30 a month. Now they do offer a 50% off for the first 3 months. So it's $15 to start for the first 3 months, and then it goes to 30. But if you, become a client of mine, you'll get, it'll be $21 a month for an entire year. So I don't know about you, but I spend $21 at McDonald's. I dare to say weekly. I have a son. We go to McDonald's every Sunday. So, and so it's worth every penny to manage everything that I just told you about. And it's automated. You don't have to, write it down. You don't have to put it in an Excel document. It comes across your bank feed. Click, click, you're done. Okay. And I do provide training through my business on how to do that. As well as through other community resources. You can come in person and we provide training through other resources. So Lisa said, okay, anonymous, will this meeting be recorded and sent to participants after? So the best thing for you to do is to click on that copying streaming link, and that is the best way to get a copy. If you can't do that, then you can email me, and then I'll make sure that you get a copy. Email me through SCORE. Okay. Lisa, is it sufficient to set up a Google form to import your receipts, details, and capture a photo of the receipt? Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I said, it used to be free as me. If you can get it, through Google, and it does everything you needed to do, that is sufficient, especially for now when in startup. But then when you get to a point where you can afford to purchase a system, QuickBooks is going to make it much, much easier than using Google Form. Okay, anonymous. So I purchased flour for $10 and was charged 83 cents in sales tax. Thank you for doing that, because in my mind, I was trying to process it. So 83 cents in sales taxes. I sell $10 worth of cupcakes and charge 83 cents in sales tax. Does the sales tax I pay on the purchase cancel having to pay the 83 cents to the comptrollers? Okay. This is truly an accounting question. Okay. So anonymous, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, and we can, make sure that, we're all good as far as this goes. But the short answer is that when you become a agent of the comptroller's office, you get your sales tax certificate. You should also get a reseller certificate. And what that means is you take that reseller certificate into Walmart, into Joann Fabrics, into Office Depot, and you give them that certificate. They will not charge you sales tax. Okay. So then when you sell the cupcake, yes, you charge that 83 cents. And then that's when you pay the comptrollers the 83 cents. So what's key here is that you get that reseller certificate. It's on the comptroller's website. You can call them up, and they can make sure that you get that reseller certificate, or you can apply for it online. Okay, Lisa, can you drop the go back checklist in the chart? We can't click the link in the slide. Right. So again, it is on the Houston.score.org website under the resources page. I can go ahead and drop that link into the chat, but give me a moment, because when I click away here, it goes away. So let me finish up the questions. All right, Lisa, are there any red flags to look out for in opening a business bank account? I've seen online accounts offered that do not require a minimum balance. Are they safe? Yes, they are safe. The thing that you want to look out for is the FDIC certification. As far as banks, when you have that certification, we're FIDC insured. That's what you want to, when you're looking for a bank, that's what you want to look out for. Like I said, gosh, not big banks, but goodness gracious, credit unions are one of the best ones for small businesses that are starting out. I honestly would, what the thing with banks. Okay, so here we're getting on my little soapbox. The thing with banks are a networking mechanism. Okay, yes, they can give you loans. Yes, you can build equity and all that good stuff, investments and all that good stuff. But what you're truly doing is building a relationship with that bank, so that when you are making money moves, you are doing business, you have that as a tool as you grow your business. So the key is that if you've been doing business with Chase for 15 years, stay with Chase, because they know you. They know your banking history. They know your activity. When, if it, like in the old days, you could walk into the bank and, tell her Sabrina is going to be like, hey, Jada, how are you doing? How's the kids? All that. It's all about relationships. Okay. So that when you do go to Chase after 15 years and ask for a loan, and you have the equity in your business that you're proving on your balance sheet to cover that loan, they're more receptible or susceptible of giving it to you because of the relationship. If you walk into Chase today with your beautiful balance sheet and say, hey, you don't have a relationship with them, and say, can I have a loan? More than likely, they're going to tell you no, because number one, you're not a Fortune 500 business. You're not out there, doing business as of, the last, 3 years. It's going to be hard. Credit unions are more kinder to small businesses, especially in startup. And even them, they are still a little hesitant to give out loans. So that's why we have the SBA, and they guarantee the loans for you. So the SBA doesn't give you loans, they guarantee that the loan that you're asking for from Chase Bank is, a good fit for you and the bank. The SBA is like a partner in guaranteeing it. So there's more information about that on the SBA website. But what I'm trying to get you to grasp is that having a relationship with the bank is very important. Especially they need to be FDIC approved. And then if you want a small business friendly bank, credit unions are a good way to go. Lisa, could you also share the links to bookkeeping tips page in the chat as well? Yes, I can. All right, Ricardo, when looking at my balance sheet, why would my bank account listed under assets have a negative balance? More than likely, either one, your bank account is truly in a negative, and hopefully it's not, or you have not, if you're using an automated system, you have not balanced your bank account. You have not done the bank reconciliation, and that's the reason why it's in a negative. All right, Anonymous, do you have to charge sales tax on software products? Yes, anything that is tangible. So IT businesses are another business that you want to check with the comptroller's office to see if you have to charge sales taxes. Typically on service-based businesses, you don't have to charge sales taxes, but IT businesses, because of the nature of the business, because there's software, there's so on and so forth, you may have to charge sales taxes. Check with the comptroller's office. But yes, if it's a product, more than likely you have to provide a sales tax. I started my business in September of 2022. This is John. If I bought a laptop January of 2023, would I be able to deduct that for the first year of business? Absolutely. So, as long as you, okay, I see what you're saying. So there is what is known as first year startup expenses. And so that is separate, but even though you purchased the laptop in 2023, it's still tax deductible. So because it's an expense for your business. So yes, you can. Tremaine, I have been in real estate for over 16 years, but I started my LLC brokerage in April. I created an EIN number and filed with the comp office, okay, when I created the company in April, but I did not send it in a report in May. Will I be fined? Okay, let me process this. Okay, so you got your LLC in April, which means that you would not have to file the franchise tax for that LLC, that franchise tax report for that LLC until May 15th of this year. So if you purchased the LLC in April of 2022, your reporting would be this year of May of 15th, by May 15th. Tremaine, I have a business account in personal, but I transfer money from my business account to my personal. Is this a problem, or should I write a check to myself? No, the transfer is okay. It is what is considered an owner's draw or owner's pay. So so you're doing the right thing. If you want to write yourself a check, you can, but I wouldn't go through that process. I would just go ahead and transfer. Yolanda, I don't see the link in anymore. you mentioned YouTube will be there. So Yolanda, what you have to do is click on the more button on the Zoom toolbar. When you click on the more button, then you click on copy streaming link, and that will give you the link. Okay, Tracy. All right. Good morning, Miss Jada. Yes, good morning, Tracy. I'm starting a supermarket. Go ahead. All right. In an underserved area in Texas. That's a blessing. Although I have not received any grant funding yet, I'm seeking funding from grants and other funding sources. My question is, at what point should I incorporate an account or QuickBooks system to manage my business, or should I just ask or just seek out an accountant? Yes, you should seek out an accountant for sure. As soon as possible, you should get a QuickBooks system as soon as possible. Even if at this point you are just expenses, there's just expenses going on. You don't have any income coming in. You want to manage those expenses for a time such as this, so that when tax season comes, you can prove or put those deductions into your tax system and get your taxes filed for your business. Now, getting an accountant, I know that's can be expensive, but as soon as you can afford it, you should get an accountant such as myself. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. But yes, now, if the key here, and I know this is outside of your question, you said this, you're going to create a supermarket, which is usually a for-profit business, even though it's in an underdeserved area. For-profit businesses don't usually get grants. In this day and age, in the recent years, because of COVID, there's been grants given to for-profit business because of COVID. But outside of that, usually grants are given to nonprofits. So if your supermarket is going to be a nonprofit, then yes, you can, grants are going to be out there for you. But if it's a for-profit business, then generally grants are not. Okay, so again, that's just my 2 cents. That's outside of your question. Ricardo, I bought a MacBook and an iPad for my business with my personal credit card in order to get extended warranty provided by the credit card company. Do I just have to fill out a reimbursement form for my business? Okay, so at this point, since you purchased it personally on your personal card, what you would need to do is provide that the expense is for your business. So say the receipt, all that good stuff, and report it through your taxes. If you're talking about as far as a QuickBooks system or accounting system, then you would just enter that expense into your accounting system, even though you pay for it on your personal card. But the expense is business related. Okay, Anonymous, can you recommend a reliable Excel template for bookkeeping for those of us who operate a simple lean startup and aren't ready to pay for a service? I mean, Excel, Google Sheets, Excel, those are all, great resources, templates that you can use. Google Sheets is free so that you can start with them. They provide templates within their, especially for Excel, you can, Google bookkeeping template, and it'll pull up an Excel, spreadsheet that you can use. But I would highly suggest using QuickBooks Self-Employed. Even though it's not as robust as Simple Start, Self-Employed is $15 a month. And right now it's 50% off, so $7.50 per month is what you would pay for your QuickBooks Self-Employed, and that will help you manage the sales and expenses. It won't provide you with a balance sheet, but it'll provide you with an income statement, allow you to pull down your transactions from your bank. It is more affordable. So if you can afford $7.50 or $15 a month, or $7.50 or $15 a month, I think it's best that you go with QuickBooks Self-Employed. Okay, Anonymous, how hard is it to switch from a free software to QuickBooks? Anything we should be cautious about? It's very simple. So it's as long as you can put the information in an Excel spreadsheet, you can upload it into QuickBooks, and it's very easy to do. Anonymous, I have a couple of contractors I work with internationally. How should I be capturing the payments, and what tax do I need to be aware of? So I don't know of any taxes that is for international contractors, but if you want to manage them in QuickBooks, you would need to put their information in there, and it can track how much you're paying out to them. Sula. So to be clear, I can reach out to you for mentorship and then later flip that into a service request. And at that time, you will no longer be able to mentor me. Sula, no. Actually, if I mentor you, I cannot provide a service to you for 3 years after that day. So if today I mentor you, you have to wait 3 years from this day to become a client. Okay. So if you become a client, then I can, I'm mentoring you anyway as a client. But as a mentee through SCORE, I can only mentor you, and it cannot be flipped to a client relationship. Anonymous, follow-up question. I've operated for 2 months and did not secure the certificate you mentioned and have paid the 83 cents. Do I deduct it when reporting sales taxes? That is an opportunity. So you should connect with an accountant in order for them to make sure you capture that 83 cents. All right. So Rachel, I invoiced the client in November for work in November. They are likely to pay me in late January or February. Do I report that to the IRS as 2022 or 2023? That is a great accounting question, Rachel. The quick answer is if you're a cash-based system, you would report that on your 2022 taxes. Okay. If you're accrual-based system, if you're accrual-based accounting, then you will report it on your 2023 taxes, but reach out to your accountant to help you with that. Anonymous, if I bought a computer in 2022 as a sole proprietor, what makes it a business expense if I also use it for personal budgeting? Do I have to have my software registered as a business version? So no, you do not have to register as a business version. And what makes it a business expense is that you're using it for business, even though you're using it for personal. I have my laptop right here. I use it really for business all the time, but it's available to me for personal. Okay. Sula says, okay, are you saying that any expenses can be filed regardless if the expenses are outside of the tax year? In other words, can I include January 2023 expenses when I do my 2022 taxes? No. So you have to wait to file for that expense that you purchased in January 2023 for when you file your taxes for 2023. So all expenses that you incurred in 2022 will be reported this January 15th. All expenses that you incur in 2023, you will be reported in April of 2023. Okay. Excuse me, 2024. Anonymous, can you use one QuickBooks account and manage 2 LLC transactions, or do I need a QuickBooks account for each business? So it all depends. If the 2 businesses are the same, then you can get QuickBooks Plus and you can manage both businesses within QuickBooks Plus, which is $80 a month for QuickBooks Plus. If it's 2 different businesses, then it would be important for you to get 2 different subscriptions. I would start with Simple Start. Each of those subscriptions at max is $35 per month. And so it's still cheaper than Plus, but you do get the ease of managing each business in its own subscription. So those are all the questions that I have in the Q&A area. So I will go back to the links and put them in the chat as promised. Well, I'm going to have to do it this way. Okay, it's not letting me edit. 1 second. Okay, we still got some time left, so let me See if I can clear. Okay, I can't do that all at one time. Okay. I was trying to allow you to add more questions if you had any. Okay, let's get these links in here for you. Okay, so here is the link for the disaster. And of course I spelled it wrong. Recovery. And here are the links for the IRS resources. Y'all making me work. Now I told y'all where to go to get the information, but I'll go ahead and put it in the chat because I like you. All right. All right, there you go. So those of you who don't know, you can save the chat by clicking Save Chat. And then that way you can have those links for later. Okay, so it looks like we have some questions. We have some good mornings. Yes, the presentation will be available. Let's see. We have your good information in here. So please network within here, within the chat, adding your information. Okay, Crystal is joining for Virginia. Thank you for joining us. Okay, let's see. Making sure I don't see any questions. Okay, I am Lisa. Okay, she's providing her information. Okay, I'm not seeing any questions just yet in the chat area. So glad that everybody was able to put their questions in the Q&A area. Thank you for that. So I appreciate it. Let's get down to these questions or post here. Okay, Carolina says, I have a full-time job and a very small side business. I'm not generating a lot from the business, but hope to work harder on it. Which version of QuickBooks do you recommend? Honestly, I would recommend some QuickBooks Self-Employed for you. It is not a full-fledged QuickBooks version, so it does provide you with the bare essentials for running your side hustle there. Okay. Oh, you're so welcome, Sue. Okay, it says, could you enable save feature in chat? Should be enabled. Yeah, should be enabled. I don't control that if it's not enabled. Okay. So you have more. Okay. Okay, so is it Keena? Trying to get this. Okay. Okay, then. Okay. Keena Jefferson says, can you touch on S Corp? I'm not sure what information you need as far as an S Corp, but the S Corp is a great opportunity if you are wanting to avoid double taxation. If you're not an S Corp, you do get double tax, meaning that you have to pay taxes personally and then also through your business. The S Corp helps you to not get double taxed. You're very welcome, Yolanda. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome. All right. All right. So you're so welcome, Yolanda, Lisa. Okay. So the presentation, you can pull it down from the live stream. But if you need it outside of this, then just email me, Laverna. Okay. All right. So, I mean, putting your information in the chat You can put it in there for me to network with you, for everyone to network with you. So I love that you're putting in here your good information. Okay, perfect. Okay, so starting a farm. I'm just trying to read through and make sure. Okay. Okay. Oh, it started. Okay, let me get down here. Okay. Yes, Shonda, there's another webinar for Introduction to QuickBooks scheduled. It's going to be scheduled in February, so look out for that. You can find a link to this webinar after the fact, so look out for that. You're so welcome, Cynthia. You're welcome, Shonda. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and close. Like, I think we have, okay. Okay, Anonymous says, can you use one quick, but okay, we did all that. All right, perfect. So I thank you for joining us today. We hope that you reach out to us in the future. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn, also through SCORE as a mentor, as well as on our houston.score.org website. Y'all